Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be comparing the GoPro Hero 7 against the GoPro Hero 8 for the use with multi-rotors. But before I go any further, I understand that this video isn't going to appeal to everyone because these are not cheap cameras. So my preferred budget action camera is the Runcam 5 Orange for the best picture quality, or the Cadex Orca for a better audio quality. And you might be asking, why am I making this video now when these two cameras have been out for a while? And the answer is, I've spent a lot of time with them, and if you're considering spending a huge amount of money on either of them, then maybe this information could be useful to you. Or if you're somebody running a budget camera, but you aren't happy with the results that you're getting, then both of these cameras can significantly improve your video quality. Even if you have a badly tuned quad, or you have ran into unexpected circumstances, which was actually one of the catalysts for making this video. So I started flying with the Hero 7 at the same time iFlight came out with the Nazgul 5, because I had no choice. All of my Session 5s had stopped working, and for a short amount of time I was buying refurbished Session 5s off eBay, but all of those eventually stopped working. And even though I wasn't happy about the massive amount of extra weight of this new Hero camera, I could see that the picture quality had improved over the Session 5, and there were more options for higher resolutions and frame rates. Another thing I didn't like is how fragile the casing is. The very first time I slotted my brand new Hero 7 into a tight-fitting GoPro mount, the soft touch material instantly got scuffed. In fact, this one isn't too bad. I've seen much worse examples. But with the back screen getting easily scratched along with the exposed front screen and the fact that the Session 6 is off the table, it's pretty clear that GoPro isn't in the business of making these cameras for mini quads. And that's interesting because they have just acquired the company Real Steady, which is a piece of software that uses the gyro data of the camera specifically for the use of stabilizing drone footage, although in my opinion it's not reliable enough to be useful, even when you follow their extreme guidelines such as using cable ties to soft mount the cameras, etc. So it makes me wonder what GoPro's plan is with that. Have they just bought them out to eradicate any competition, or do they plan to make the software work better with future cameras, because the people who do put all of the effort in to get Real Steady working will tell you that it's better than the built-in HyperSmooth that the Hero 7 and the Hero 8 have. But before I get into that, there's a couple of differences between the Hero 8 and 7 that might be important to you. The biggest disappointment for me is that the Hero 8 is a different size and shape over the Hero 7. So all the way back to the Hero 5, the ergonomics have stayed the same. Therefore, if you are like me and are a big fan of the Brain 3D printed mounts, the Hero 8 won't fit into the old ones. And that's because rather than having a separate case for protection, they have essentially made the case part of the camera and then added these folding legs if you want to use any of the proprietary GoPro mounts. What I do like is there is less soft touch material, so removing it in and out of the new mounts doesn't scuff it up as much. Now at this point, people in the know will be saying, why did they remove the option to replace the lens protector on the Hero 8? Because from the Hero 5 onwards, you've been able to replace the lens, but I think the answer is pretty simple. First of all, I don't think GoPro are making these cameras for us. And second of all, the front lens is not the only thing that can get smashed. It's definitely the most exposed part of the camera, but I've had some massive crashes where I expected the Hero 7 to come back in bits, but I've always used these 3D printed lens protectors, and so far I've had no breakages. But crucially, if you're spending this amount of money on a camera, then you will be daft not to buy into one of the care packages where they will replace the entire camera if something gets broken. And we're really lucky in the UK because if you buy a Hero 7 from a company called Argos, then you can get a 4-year replacement warranty that costs just over $1 a month, and the Hero 8 a little over $2 a month. So for me, the disappointment is not that the lens can't be replaced, it's the fact that the ND filters and the 3D printed parts no longer fit. The one thing that is compatible with the rest of the Hero line are the batteries, although you will initially get a warning telling you to use official Hero 8 batteries for the best performance. But if there is any benefit in using the included battery, then I haven't noticed it, and you can turn the warning off, never to be seen again. The GoPro 8 weighs 125 grams including its battery and micro SD card, making it 9 grams heavier than the Hero 7. Anyways, I've been flying the Nazgul 5 of the Hero 7 a lot, which by the way is still my favourite analog bind and fly freestyle model. It seems everything now has the DJI system in it, making the prices ridiculous. And we had an awful summer last year, so the footage always came out really dark, but in general I was happy with the performance of the Hero 7 on the Nazgul 5. Until I met up with some friends to fly at a bunch of bandos where we eventually ended up at a wind farm. Now the thing about wind farms is that it tends to be windy, and because I'm only seeing the analog footage through my goggles, everything is looking pretty smooth when I'm flying. But when I looked back at the Hero 7 footage, the flat face of the GoPro combined with the flexible TPU mount was causing a lot of wobble and vibrations. It made the quad appear like there was a tuning issue, which didn't matter because it was one of those rare occasions where I was just out for the sake of flying with my friends from Let's Drone Out and Kelsey FPV. And at the time, everything that I'd seen online about HyperSmooth was that it was a little bit like cheating. So I was just running the camera in 2.7K 60 FPS with everything else set to auto. But after seeing this terrible wobbly footage, we decided to move to a different location, and I just decided to turn on HyperSmooth without any expectations. But it totally transformed the footage into something usable, which really surprised me because the wobble was pretty severe. And it's the worst feeling ever when you've done a lot of traveling to different locations, and through the goggles you knew that you saw some pretty epic footage and you got to hang out with your friends and you had a great time. But then you get home and look at the HD footage, and when you realize it's unusable, you get a little bit deflated. So for me, HyperSmooth went from being a cheat to reliability for those shots that can't be repeated or fixed in a video editor. For example, check out these two clips. The first one is me taking off and flying in a straight line towards one of the windmills, where you can see wobbles and some small vibrations. And the second shot is what Real Steady did to it. So that footage was pretty much unusable, but I still had a great time with my friends. It was just unfortunate that I couldn't use that footage. Actually, I did take a different quad with a different camera, so I did get some footage from that session. So here is a clip of me flying in a straight line done with the GoPro Hero 8 with HyperSmooth turned on in 2.7K 60 FPS. And this second clip is the Hero 7, where I think the picture is a little bit more washed out compared to the Hero 8. Of course, this is all subjective, and I encourage you to bump up the resolution on YouTube to as high as you can because I'm rendering this video in 4K, because as we all know, YouTube butchers the footage in general. But this is just my opinion. If you prefer the Hero 7 footage, then go for that one, because that's the entire point of this video. I think when pointed at the sun, the Hero 8 is slightly better at dealing with dynamic range as well, in that the ground doesn't seem to go quite as dark as the Hero 7 does. Then there's the sound. I think the Hero 8's audio is better than the slightly muffled sound of the Hero 7. Now, GoPro has always been good when it comes to different audio environments compared to any of the competition when it comes to action cameras. So I'll show you two clips of the same model and you can hear the difference in audio. lastly, the Hero 8 has HyperSmooth version 2, which they say has an improved sensor management, but in my opinion, the improvement is negligible. There's this new feature called HyperSmooth Boost, so normal HyperSmooth crops around 10% of the image, but Boost mode reduces the field of view to get more stability. But with our FPV cameras having such a high field of view, I think it'd be difficult to frame the HD footage from the analog view to get the desired result in HD. So there you go, that is my take on the current line of Hero cameras as well as HyperSmooth. You can get both of them at the making of this video, and if you were undecided on which one to get or whether you want to upgrade, then hopefully this video will help you decide. I'll put some links in the video description as well as in a pinned comment if you wish to get either of them. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.